5 immersive worlds, 1 amazing theme park. Universal Epic Universe opens on May 22nd, 2025. But the question is, will it be epic? I'm Scott, this is Becca, this is Stephen. Let's go to Stephen first. Will it be epic?
I think it's going to be very good. It's the biggest theme park that I've ever seen built in my lifetime, I think. Like, Islands of Adventure was pretty big, but this is on an even bigger scale than that. Especially in this day and age when it is a lot more difficult to get things done. So to build a park of this size, the infrastructure around the park, to building new roads, and there's so much like outside of just, it's not just a theme park, it's like everything that comes with the theme park. How many hotels? I think there's 3 I can think of. I think there might be more though. All of those, and then you've got to staff all these as well. The scale of it is epic. The name is apt, so like the scale is massive. I think it's going to be really good. You've got like the kind of like a nod to Dueling Dragons with the 2 racing roller coasters.
Stardust,
because they had it was Starfall races originally, wasn't it? And then they had to change the name. And I just think that that's going to be really good to watch. It's going to be a spectacle seeing the 2 roller coasters launching from each other, and like it's a shame that Dueling Dragons went because that was good. I unfortunately never got to see it duel.
Oh, you missed out there.
There was one occasion I was on the lift hill, and then we were both together going up, and I was like, "Oh, we're going to duel," and then we slowed down. It was like, "Ah!" But like, I think it's going to be good to see something like that back and dueling. You've got so many great attractions. I think the dark rides are probably what appealed to me more than the roller coasters with Epic Universe. I'm really looking forward. I don't like Halloween and stuff, but I'm actually looking forward to the Monsters dark ride. I believe it's using a similar ride system to the Harry Potter Forbidden Journey. I think it's a really good ride system. I think the animatronics they've shown off in there are really good. I'm just hoping they don't go too immersive with it. I think if they take it too immersive, I probably won't like it. But I think they're going to get a good balance. So I think you're going to see some amazing animatronics, and hopefully it's going to be spooky, but not scary.
How immersive is too immersive?
Oh, Subterra.
No.
I don't like Subterra. I don't really like the ride system, because I like drop towers, but the drop tower on Subterra isn't big enough to really give you that drop experience. And I just don't really like the effects they have there if you're wearing shorts.
No, I don't like that.
And then you get that horrible effect on the back of the seat, which I don't know what they've used, but it has too much force behind it.
It does literally feel like it's trying to scald the back of your legs, doesn't it? It basically feels like someone's holding a hairdryer to your skin. It's not pleasant at all.
So that's too immersive for me.
Right, okay.
Because that's not pleasant. I don't know if other people might like that kind of thing, but for me, that's just not enjoyable.
Too jazzy for Stephen.
It is.
Right, I don't know if I want to do this. Let's go to Becca.
Well, I think Epic is a bit of a stretch. I think on a technicality, as you're saying about all the things that have gone into it, I don't think the experience is going to be particularly epic. I watched all of the kind of fun videos they've done the other day for the first time. I just keep feeling like, where's the rest of it? I feel like for such a big project, such a big park, there's not actually that much. There's a lot of the side showy stuff. You're not going to get to any of that when it's busy. I'm sorry, but I'm not queuing to look at a thing on a wall. Yeah, lots of little things is nice, but it can't be the main features. That's the kind of thing that comes along afterwards and boosts everything. It's got to be really good and have enough to do in the first place. I feel like a lot of it's based on the visual aspect of, look at how pretty we've made it. Yeah, very nice, but what am I going to do? I'm not the kind of person who wants to stand around looking at the place for half the day. I want to do stuff, and it just doesn't feel like enough to do there.
You can take lots of pictures.
I could, but I'm not, chiseling it into slate or something. Cameras are quite quick these days. I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's enough substance where the rides are. The rides that they're doing, they've obviously put a lot into, there's just not enough of them.
Yeah, fair enough. I do feel like when you look on the how many attractions there are, I was kind of surprised when I did read online when someone said recently they're like, it's going to be too busy because there's only 11 attractions that the park's opening with, and I kind of totted them up going through the website and going, oh, there's not as many rides as I perhaps thought there was going to be. But it isn't a massive park in terms of, like, obviously we've flown over it in a helicopter. And I was surprised, like, I thought it was going to be sort of bigger, but when you think about, like, Islands of Adventure, it's not massive. No. And it's the same with Studios as well. Is also, well, I say Studios is not massive. It is when you're doing Halloween Horror Nights and you keep doing laps of the place and your legs are getting more and more tired, and it's still like humid at 2 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, generally speaking, the parks are not massive anyway. I think that it may be a problem at the start with how busy it's going to be in terms of the attractions they've got, because obviously they've not got loads. But what they do have, I do think looks very good. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think that, like, when you compare it to, like, Islands of Adventure, like, I don't think they have that many more attractions, like, when it comes to actual attractions anyway. Like, I think it's only going to be a handful more, potentially. I think that will come in time. So they've got expansion plots for Epic Universe, so I do think that the Harry Potter will get an expansion at some point. Sorry, Becca. Yeah. As there was meant to be 2 attractions there originally, and I think they kind of cancelled it because I believe one was meant to be like a VR attraction, and as we all know that VR attractions are a little bit lame, and I think that fad moved on, and I think they did the right thing in axing that. I don't think that has a place at a Universal theme park.
Agreed.
So I'm kind of glad they did axe that, but that's left them with a big space for an expansion, and obviously left them a ride down on the opening time. So. But I think that it'd be great to see the place kind of expand with different IPs as time goes. I know a few people were saying they really want to see like a Pokemon IP come to Universal. Yeah. Which I think would go down quite well. There's a lot of people who grew up with Pokemon who would probably...
Yeah, obviously we're all of the same generation, but I just wasn't interested in it. But at that time there was different stuff on the telly, like animated Batman, animated Superman, Batman Beyond. They were all better for me. More, and also I still am, but I was mad on footy as a kid, so didn't really have time for Pokemon. So I am one of the very few of our generation that just is not interested in that.
I'll tell you what you would be interested in though. If Universal did buy Warner Brothers,
yes,
and then Batman comes to the theme parks.
if you watch enough history videos, you'll see that they did actually try. Their superhero island was going to be Warner Brothers originally themed.
Yeah, so, it was going to be like Batman and Superman. I do remember seeing something about that on the original concept art.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. But obviously, you've then got the issue that obviously Six Flags have got that licensing. So you then go over the whole, well, which park's got to have this IP and who owns it now. And because I think one interesting thing for me is someone that does follow superhero stuff is obviously you've got Hulk and all that in Universal, which is now Disney owned basically. So it's just quite funny that you go to one park and you've got Disney's owned attractions in a Universal park, but then you go to the Disney park and the same sort of things can be bought and seen and all that. So it's an interesting situation they found themselves in, and I do sometimes wonder how that will pan out over time when eventually Disney say, no, we need you to change those IPs. I hope they never do, but I don't think it's out of the question. But I don't know enough about the two parks and their relationship. Well, the two companies, sorry, not parks.
Well, it's interesting to say, I know we're striving away off topic here, but Universal are actually, well, they're saying they're going to try and remove The Simpsons soon, which is now a Disney IP.
Good point.
Yeah.
So maybe it is they're trying to push out the IPs that they've got with Disney and move on to their own
Bring
IPs.
Back to the Future.
Exactly. Seriously, I'd love that. However, Epic Universe, I think one of the things that hasn't really been mentioned, which I'm really excited for, is the Monsters attraction that's going in. Now, are you looking forward to seeing that attraction kind of grow?
Yes. I've been, like we were talking about it the other day, weren't we? And I think for me, that is the most hyped of any attraction I am. Obviously, when they released all the photos of the animatronics, it was kind of like, wow, how much detail have they gone to? Yeah. And my concern was it would just be screen-based, and I think you said that.
Yeah, my first instinct was, oh no, how many screens are there going to be? Because I really don't like screen-based attractions. I think there was so much better we could have done with some of the technology than just sit you in front of a screen, because I could go home and do that. So
to have all of those real life animatronics and the lighting effects and the sound effects that we're all going to that are all going to be mixed in, it's going to be incredible. And I think if Florida does certainly get one thing right, it's dark rides. And I think that's going to be another example that we're going to see with that. It's going to be literally epic, in my opinion. For me, that is the ride I'm most excited for in that park.
Yeah.
As much as I'm looking forward to the coasters and stuff, that is probably every time I think about I'm going to Epic, it's like, that is where I'm going first. That is my first attraction. But by the time I go, there might be loads of YouTube videos saying, this is where you need to go first, this is what you need to do last, because we know that's going to happen. I mean, I'm going about a month after it's open, so there'll be a lot of videos by the time I get there.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Stephen's there going, a month? How can I get on this trip?
I would love to go see that. I'm hopefully going to be there in September time to experience it for myself. But I think it's one of those where you need to go in its opening year to just go and see it at its best, because as we know, things kind of, it's not always stay the same as any theme park I've known kind of built. Something normally gets cut within the first couple of years.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that to experience it in its original form, I want to be out there in that first year just to make sure that I get the full experience. I know one thing I did see recently, they were testing the windmill in Dark Universe.
Yeah, it looks good.
With the fire on the blades, and the technical side of me was like, how on earth are they doing that? But it looks amazing, and imagine what that's going to look like at night. It is going to be a beautiful park to just look at and walk around. So I think they're going to get that immersion right with this one. I'm not sure about the tunnels they've got going into each area, because they're quite small. And I don't know if you've been in Diagon Alley in Universal Studios. I particularly don't like that area. It's very well themed. I think we went in November and it was actually quite quiet. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually enjoying this today because I could actually take it in and see it all. And the detail was amazing.
But the narrowness and the height coupled with so many people, it just closes in on you so quickly.
Yeah, I don't really suffer with anxiety or anything, but I was a bit like, this is a bit much, sardine.
I mean, going into the Mario world in Universal in California is I was expecting that to feel like a bit of a crush going in, but you didn't get that feeling when you went through.
Okay,
I think because it was so well done that you're more focused on that than actually getting through. So I feel like they'll do okay with those bits.
Okay, because it is a bit of an odd design, having the central hub and then spokes coming off around.
Yeah.
So you're kind of funneling people in a way around the park where you've got the central hub, obviously, but then you're kind of being forced to go through these one singular entrances into each area, which did have me a little bit thinking, oh, is that going to be a bit of a scrum?
Yeah.
But if your experience is pretty good there, I imagine it's pretty much going to be copy and pasted. They've already tested it out, so it must work. So, but that will help with the immersion as well, because you're going to go through that portal and then you are now in a new world. So you kind of get immersed in that world. So I think that's something I'm looking forward to, but also kind of a little bit cautious about at the same time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to just walking in the park, seeing the portals, seeing the rides in the distance, and just experiencing it for the first time. I feel like, even though it is, like we've all said, there's not a lot of attractions, but I feel like I'm going to need to have more than one day to fully judge it, because if it is rammed, are you going to get on all of those attractions at first? It's going to be, I'm going to be watching a lot of YouTube videos in May once the park's open to see what people are saying in terms of, we found it was best to go this way around or that way around, or this ride isn't very good on capacity, so you need to go there first. This ride's good on capacity, go there last. A bit like your method with Islands of Adventure in terms of don't go to Hagrid's until 1 o'clock. It's something that I'd never really thought of until obviously I went with you, and then you're like, oh, I've done this every time and it works.
Yeah.
And it does work because everyone literally goes to that first, and you're like, Velocicoaster walk on. Okay.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then you can literally tick off all the main stuff straight away, other than Hagrid's. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the vloggers who go first and get invited are probably not going to look at the best way around the park. They're just going to go for it, and they're not going to need to, because there's probably going to be a preview day before it opens.
Yeah.
But in terms of when other people go and vlog it, it'll be interesting to see what routes they take around the park, definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because I think that Donkey Kong's going to be one that people are going to flood to, because the capacity is going to be quite low on that one. And I think that the surprise one is going to be the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster. Looking at how that's set up, like I've not seen it fully, but I have a feeling that's going to be quite a low capacity roller coaster as well.
It does give that feeling.
Yeah, especially with like it's got that show sequence in the building in the middle of the ride, and it has like a swing launch. But with the way that roller coasters and block systems work, that's quite lengthy to do.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that that's going to be one you're probably going to want to try and hit, later in the day, or like first thing, depending on how it goes. It's going to be interesting, like you say, Scott, to see how the crowds flow. I think that the Donkey Kong coaster is going to be the one that, as soon as the gates open, I think it's on early ride time. They've already announced the early ride time now for the park, so it's Nintendo and Stardust racers. That's on early ride time. And then I don't think anything in Harry Potter or towards the back of the park's actually open early. So I think that might change once they've opened it for a little bit and they kind of realise where the crowds are going. You might adjust it to spread people out a bit more. But that means if you haven't got early ride time, you're going to turn up at 9 o'clock when the gates open, and Donkey Kong's already going to have a 2-hour queue. Yeah. So I'd probably advise not joining at that time. Yeah. It's going to be hard because it's a low capacity coaster. I don't know when is going to be a good time to join the queue for the Donkey Kong coaster. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm going to be watching carefully to see how the crowds go. We've actually missed a whole section of the park, we haven't discussed.
Go for it.
So there is the How to Train Your Dragon area.
Yeah, true.
Which has the Intamin Family Launch Coaster, which I actually think looks really good. I think that's going to be a sleeper hit. It doesn't look like it's anything special, but there's some really cool elements in there. I think one of the ones that they have put in is quite interesting. They've got a block system just before launch, and the testing video, spoiler alert, you're going to have a rollback on that coaster. And then it's going to have a second launch, so I'm guessing that's a part of the story.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be a part of the story for that sequence. And you can see the trains going around. It's got a dual station on it, and that is going to be a throughput machine, that thing.
Yeah.
Looking at it testing, Intamin have got it perfect with the throughputs there. Literally, the train's just going around constantly. It's almost like hybrid level.
Yeah.
I feel like Intamin have kind of strived away from the Rita, where it's relatively low capacity, and nowadays they seem to be really putting out even though it's only 2 across roller coasters, they're nearly at B&M level throughputs, which hats off to them. They're doing a great job with them. I think that area is going to be really good. The Skyforce type-esque Gerstlauer ride. They've got 2 of them. They've got 2 because they're going to need the throughput. I have a feeling they've undercooked it.
I think should have got 4.
Even 5 or 6 because I was surprised at that choice. I would have probably gone for the ones that are on a tower. I think Leesburg have one. I think where
Euros or Aerospin, is it?
Yeah, I think they look like they have got a bit more capacity. I probably would have got a couple of those in rather than the ones with the lifting mechanism. But I suppose it probably suits the theme a little bit more, having the big arm that kind of lifts up and kind of fits that Viking-esque theme. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that area is, to be fair. Even though it is a kids' area, I think it's going to be quite good for families as well, and even grown-ups. I think that roller coaster is going to be really fun. So
it does look like a good area, that. And quite true to the film as well, so...
Yeah, I am looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a surprise hit at the park as well, So there's a few things there that are going to be okay that I think I'm looking forward to. There's a few things I was a little bit disappointed with, as much as you've got the dueling coaster of... I keep changing the name, Stardust Racers. Even though it's got its dueling element, which I think is fantastic, it doesn't... I don't think it offers anything really special. The layouts don't look I'm not excited for it. When I see Velocicoaster or Gotham City, I'm oh wow, I need to get on that. And then you see this one, and it's I don't know. But Mac have surprised me before. I think that I probably would have preferred the Mac to do the family coaster and Intamin doing the thrill personally. But I think it's good to have variety as well. So they've been given a chance to prove themselves. Let's see if it's paid off when we go on it.
Definitely. So I think we can probably leave it there. In terms of, we are probably all a little bit on the fence with it, other than, well, in fact, you're not on the fence.
I fell off the fence, I think. I'm next to it, but I'm not sitting on it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Whether it'll be epic or not, I genuinely don't know for sure until I go. It's going to be one of those that, like I say, I feel like I'm going to need more than one day.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're going to need one day to take in the atmosphere, one day to enjoy the attractions. So for me, I'm hoping it's going to be epic, but I'm not sure it will be epic straight away. What I will say is that on a grand scale, it is epic because, like you say, the changes in the whole area are incredible. Like even last year, I went in September and then in November, and the literal difference in 2 months' time was insane. There was new roads open, there was all sorts going on in that area. Somebody's dad here was taking accidental routes, so we got a very good view of it at one point, and the security guard thought it was absolutely hilarious that we'd taken a wrong turn.
Yeah, I don't think Lockheed Martin were too impressed, were they?
No, but we got a good view of Epic, to be fair. But yeah, it's quite funny when you take a wrong turn on a new road. But yeah, he thought it was hilarious. I'm very pleased to say there will be vlogs from Epic Universe on Your Experience Guide. Probably in June, maybe in July. It depends on basically time in terms of getting it on the channel, but it'd probably be more likely early July. And then there'll be another trip in Halloween Horror Nights time, which Stephen is avoiding this year.
Yeah, I'm out.
He's
I'm actually going, you know. I've got a ticket.
Have you got?
I've got a ticket to go to Halloween
He's not
Horror
going
Nights.
with me though.
I won't be doing any
Scarred him
mazes.
for life.
I'll be just lapping the mummy all night.
Again.
Yeah.
Good plan.
To be fair, I didn't do it as much as I could have done. Like, I did do a lot of laps on the mummy though when
Yeah,
I was
you
with
did.
you, because Scott was going in the maze. If it was a 40-minute thing for the maze, I was going on the mummy 3 times, and then I'd be like, right, let's go to the next thing. But I did do quite a few mazes. I did actually enjoy some of them. I couldn't get out quick enough. I would have sprinted. That's meant to be fun. I think I enjoyed 2 of them, and one of them I hated. I did 3, didn't I? The Ghostbusters and the Universal Monsters one I thought were fantastic. And then the Goblin's Feast, there was no queue on, and we kind of went through like a traditional UK maze. And yeah, with the special effects and everything they have in those things, like when you're going through in a big, you're kind of like walking through in a constant line of people usually. But with this one, we were like the first people to go in, I think, in a little bit of time, and everything kind of happened to us. Whereas normally you'd be seeing stuff resetting and stuff going back. It was like all on, and you loved it.
The funny thing is, we've just done the Universal Monsters one, whichever one that was. I can't remember the full name of it, Bloodline or something. And you were like, oh, I really enjoyed that. It wasn't that scary. And then we walked past Goblin's Feast, and it was like literally walking. There was nobody in the queue. And he went, oh, go on, I'll do it then. Because I'd just been saying how good it was about 10 minutes earlier. And we did get hammered.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, that put me off. But I think, would you like to see something like Halloween Horror Nights at Epic Universe? Because there was a time when Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios had Halloween Horror Nights together. Like, do you think there's potentially a market there for
From
that?
what I've read, like a lot of the locals were saying that really did not work. Like it was an absolute nightmare for them. So I think it should stay in studios.
Yeah, I think like if you can focus and do a really good event in one park, why spread it out over multiple parks and not offer the same kind of level of immersiveness with it. So I think they did a really good job transforming the park from like day to night at Universal Studios. I don't know how they do it so quickly.
No, I don't either. It's
Every night it's like, oh, everything's just different. Like, well done to them. They must have an amazing team there.
You walk around the park in the day and there's like nothing there.
Yeah.
None of the like anything of Halloween Horror Nights is really there, and then you go back an hour later and it's like, oh, it's all here.
It just appears.
Yeah, but no. To answer that question, no.
No.
But I think it's time to throw it over to everyone watching. So, do you think Epic Universe at Universal Studios Orlando will indeed be epic, or will it not be epic? Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and please let us know if you're visiting as well. Be interested to see what you think of it once it's open. So many thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Your Experience Guide video.